Most people think boosting immunity means eating more oranges, but vitamin C is only one tiny piece of your body's defense system, and some of the foods controlling the other pieces are probably sitting in your kitchen right now. Because your immune system isn't one thing, it has barriers designed to keep invaders out, cells trained to hunt them down, chemical signals that sound the alarm, and trillions of bacteria helping your body decide what should be attacked and what should be left alone. So instead of asking, what's the best food for immunity, there's a much more interesting question. What does your immune system actually need to defend you? Because once you understand that, these 10 foods start looking very different. And the first surprise begins with the food everyone associates with immunity. Or rather, the food that can beat it: red bell peppers. When people hear vitamin C, they usually picture an orange, but a medium red bell pepper can contain more vitamin C than a typical orange. And vitamin C isn't just some vague immune booster. Certain white blood cells accumulate vitamin C, and it helps support processes involved in finding, engulfing, and destroying microbes. Think of those cells like tiny security guards patrolling your body. Vitamin C doesn't make them invincible, but getting enough helps the security system work normally. And it has another job. Before your immune cells ever fight an infection, your body tries to stop the invader from getting inside. Your skin and the lining of your nose, lungs, and digestive tract form physical barriers between you and the outside world. Vitamin C helps support those barriers too. So yes, oranges are useful, kiwi fruit is useful, amla is extremely rich in vitamin C, but red bell peppers deserve far more attention than they get. And here's where the story gets more interesting, because your body's walls depend heavily on another nutrient, which brings us to number 2, sweet potatoes. Their bright orange color comes largely from beta-carotene, which your body can convert into vitamin A. Vitamin A helps maintain the tissues lining places like your respiratory and digestive tracts. Imagine your body as a castle. Most people focus on the soldiers inside. Those are your immune cells. But what happens if the castle walls start breaking down? Suddenly, those soldiers have a much harder job. Vitamin A helps maintain those walls. That's why sweet potatoes, carrots, pumpkin, spinach, and dark leafy greens are more connected to immunity than they might appear. But strong walls aren't enough. Once something gets through, your immune system has to recognize the problem and respond. And for that, it depends on something surprisingly small: zinc. Which brings us to number 3, pumpkin seeds. Zinc doesn't get the attention vitamin C does, but your immune system would be in serious trouble without it. Zinc is involved in the development and normal function of immune cells, including T cells. And T cells don't just attack everything they see. Different T cells perform different jobs, coordinating immune responses, killing infected cells, and helping control how the immune system reacts. You can think of zinc as one of the materials needed to keep this highly trained army functioning. When someone becomes zinc deficient, immune function can suffer. That's why pumpkin seeds are such an interesting everyday food. Lentils and chickpeas provide zinc too, while oysters are one of the richest food sources. But there's a catch. If you're deficient, getting enough matters. That doesn't mean swallowing huge amounts gives you a supercharged immune system. Remember that, because later it becomes the key to understanding this entire list. For now though, we need to leave the bloodstream and visit one of the strangest parts of your immune system: your gut. And that brings us to number 4, plain yogurt. Your intestines aren't simply a tube that digests lunch. They're one of the busiest meeting points between your body and the outside world. Food passes through there. Microbes live there. Foreign molecules constantly arrive there. So your immune system has to make an extraordinary decision again and again. Dangerous or harmless? Attack the wrong thing and you create unnecessary inflammation. Ignore the wrong thing and a pathogen gets an opportunity. Your gut microbiome helps influence this conversation, and fermented foods containing live cultures, such as certain yogurts and kefir, can introduce microorganisms that interact with this environment. Some research suggests particular probiotics may modestly reduce the occurrence or duration of some respiratory infections, although the effect depends on the strain, the person, and the study. So yogurt isn't an invisible shield against viruses, but the gut immune connection is very real. And here's the strange part. Those microbes need to eat too, which brings us to number 5, oats. Certain fibers travel through your digestive system until they reach your large intestine. There, microbes can ferment them and produce compounds called short-chain fatty acids. One of the most studied is butyrate. Think of your gut microbes like microscopic factory workers. Give them certain fibers, and some of them manufacture molecules that can interact with your gut lining and immune system. Oats are one source of useful fermentable fibers. Onions, garlic, leeks, legumes, flax seeds, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains provide different types. And now look at what's happening. One food supports immune cells. Another supports physical barriers. Another supplies zinc. Another interacts with gut microbes. Another feeds those microbes. It seems like we're slowly building a stronger and stronger immune system. But that's where this entire story takes a turn, because sometimes a stronger immune response is exactly what you don't want. Imagine a fire alarm. When there's a fire, you desperately want that alarm screaming. But imagine it never switches off. Hours later, days later, weeks later, now the alarm itself has become part of the problem. Your immune system faces something similar. Inflammation is an essential part of defending you, but the response also needs ways to resolve once the danger has passed. And that's why food number 6 is so interesting. Salmon. Fatty fish such as salmon, sardines, and mackerel provide omega-3 fatty acids. These fats participate in pathways involved in inflammation and its resolution, and they interact with immune cell function. So this isn't about simply making your defenses more aggressive. It's about giving the system materials it uses throughout the response. And if you don't eat fish, chia seeds and flax seeds provide ALA, a plant-based omega-3. Your body can convert some ALA into the longer-chain EPA and DHA found in seafood, although that conversion is limited. But salmon exposes something bigger. If immunity isn't simply about making the response stronger, what have we actually been boosting this whole time? Food number 7 gives us another clue: turmeric. Turmeric contains curcumin. Curcumin has attracted enormous research interest because it can interact with several biological pathways involved in inflammation. One of those pathways involves something called NF-kappa B. Forget the complicated name. Think of it like one of the control panels behind your body's inflammatory alarm system. Curcumin can influence that signaling in laboratory studies, but here's what advertisements often leave out. Eating turmeric with dinner is not the same as using a concentrated curcumin extract in an experiment. Dose matters, absorption matters, the form matters, and human evidence is far more complicated than headlines claiming turmeric supercharges immunity. But that's exactly why turmeric belongs on this list, because we're starting to discover that foods can support immunity without behaving like medicines. And the next food makes that distinction even more important. Number 8, garlic. Crush a garlic clove and chemistry begins almost immediately. Damage to the plant allows reactions that produce compounds including allicin. Those sulfur-containing compounds are part of the reason freshly crushed garlic has that unmistakable smell. Garlic compounds have shown antimicrobial and immune-related effects in laboratory research, but human evidence is much less dramatic than the internet sometimes suggests. Garlic won't create a force field around you. It won't guarantee you never get sick. What makes garlic interesting is that it contains several biologically active plant compounds and fibers that can interact with the gut microbiome. So once again, one food is touching more than one part of the system. And garlic isn't alone. Number 9, ginger. That spicy kick comes partly from compounds called gingerols. These compounds have been studied for antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects, but by now, something should feel strange. Red peppers gave us vitamin C, sweet potatoes gave us beta-carotene, pumpkin seeds gave us zinc, yogurt introduced live cultures, oats fed gut microbes. Salmon gave us omega-3 fats. Turmeric gave us curcumin. Garlic gave us sulfur-containing compounds and prebiotic fibers. Ginger gave us gingerols. These foods don't seem to be doing the same thing at all. So why do we keep putting them under one label, immune-boosting foods? The answer is hidden inside food number 10. And strangely, it's one of the least exciting-looking foods on this list: almonds. Almonds are a useful source of vitamin E. Vitamin E is a fat-soluble antioxidant, and it helps protect cell membranes from oxidative damage while supporting normal immune function. Sunflower seeds are another excellent source, and another antioxidant-related nutrient, selenium, is found in foods including seafood, eggs, meats, grains, and Brazil nuts. But Brazil nuts reveal something almost nobody expects from a video about boosting immunity. Your body needs selenium, yet too much selenium can be harmful. Think about what that means. If immunity worked like a strength meter, more should always be better. More vitamin C, more zinc, more selenium, more inflammation, more immune activity, but biology doesn't work that way. And now the entire list suddenly makes sense. These 10 foods weren't doing the same job. They were supporting different parts of the same defense network. That's the real secret. There may be no single best food for immunity, because there is no single immune system switch waiting to be turned up. Your defense system is barriers, immune cells, microbes, chemical signals, inflammation, and antioxidant defenses all working together. And that explains something else. Why can fixing a nutrient deficiency sometimes make a meaningful difference while taking huge doses when you're already getting enough often doesn't? Because your body isn't asking for maximum amounts of everything. It's asking for the materials it needs to do thousands of different jobs. And food is only part of that picture. Sleep matters. Physical activity matters. Vaccination matters. Good hygiene matters. And when you're sick, proper medical care matters. So the next time someone promises that one drink, supplement, fruit, or mysterious superfood will supercharge your immune system overnight, remember what these 10 foods revealed. You don't need one magical ingredient. You need to feed the entire defense system. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.